What up, people? This is your boy Juro. It is the 28th of March, 2016. How is each and every one of y'all doing? You're beginning your new week. I hope those who celebrated Easter had a blessed and safe weekend. And you're starting a new week, a new chapter, because it's blessed. But you know what? I wanted to put this out. I'm not going to make it winded, but because you know Juro has much love for you. Juro wants to see the best for you, and Juro wants you to be informed. With that being said, y'all, I got some heaviness on my heart because I've had lately started to do a little observation on actually this has been going on since I would say the summer. For those who've been following my videos, you know that I talked about when I went and to my annual retreat of going down to the mountains, and how where I went to Mount Mitchell, which is in North Carolina, not too far from Asheville, matter of fact, which is the highest elevation. We're talking approximately 6,400 feet up in the air, to realize how the tree line, as far as you could see, was damaged. And I couldn't understand why. And simply from the rep there, they said, well, you know, this is a byproduct of pollution, of air pollution. And it puzzled me because as far as I could see, the tips of these trees, now it may have been small to me, but we're talking 30, 40 feet in the air, were damaged, were dying. Pretty much they were all dead on the top. But it didn't hit home and resonate for me until several months later, and noticing that I was seeing the same effects where I reside. That's right. I mean, where I live at, there is roughage of trees. There's a tree line. I've got like 15 to 20 trees. So it was nearly 4 years ago. Now those trees have been dwindled down to 7, 8. How do you go from a healthy tree 1 year to dead as a doornail, like as if it had been living for 30, 40, 50 years, whatever, you know what? How's that possible? I couldn't understand that. So instead of speculating, I used that trusty internet, started doing research, trying to figure out what was going on. But it didn't click, y'all. It didn't click for me. Now, before you go, I want you to understand this is not about the dying of trees, but there is a collective of why I'm putting this out, because Juro got much love for you, and wherever you are, I hope you are safe, you're blessed, but you're speaking your truth and you're grounding your feet. But I'm gonna be honest with you, y'all. I'm gonna throw a disclaimer out here, but I'm gonna try my best to stay in due bounds and be respectful to the intended ear, intended heart. But y'all, something is not right. And it's got me feeling a certain kind of way, because in a city near you, a town near you, a country near you, what's going on with the skies? Huh? What's going on? And it seems very, very evident for the last, at least I know I can remember, last 3 years, those airplanes have been doing a very good tournament of playing tic-tac-toe now, right? I know I know I'm not the only one looking in the sky like, wow, it must be really cold up there for you to see the effects of the heat off the engines due to the altitude of the climate above. But then I started to read. I started to take note because, y'all, the greatest trick the devil ever convinced man was to convince him he did not exist. I'm in my emotions right now, y'all, so you got to bear with me because I might be stumbling over my words because my words, Lord, I know when it's all said and done, your will is going to be done. I understand that. Now let me get back on point, y'all, because Gerald got much love for you. I do. Even if you don't love yourself, Gerald praying for you. That's okay. Don't listen to those people in the cheap seats because they don't want you to become who you destined to be. And part of being who you destined to be is staying healthy, staying informed, placing God first in everything you do. Without your foundation, you can't grow. That's why I always echo, do you know who you are? I echo that for a reason. Because if you knew who you were, you would know your worth. You would know your value. And you would know that there are some people that don't want you to be who you destined to be. So I need y'all to love yourself, y'all. Even if that means you got to take the road less traveled, I need you to love yourself. Because when it's all said and done, all things done in the dark is going to come to the light, and all things hidden always comes right in front of you so it can be validated. Oh, don't worry about the ones that think they winning or they think they getting over on you. We all reap what we sow. We all reap what we sow. So it's very, very important you invest in yourself. Now, that's out the way. So, y'all, I'm putting this video out, and I'm gonna stay on point. I'm trying because I got goosebumps right now, y'all, because I'm feeling a certain kind of way because I'm kind of pissed. I'm kind of pissed off about something. I know y'all saying, well, what is it? I'm all right. We're taking the spiritual out of it, and now we're talking Gerald, the dude next door. I always would tell people, don't let the light skin fool you. The worst thing you can do is judge a book by its cover. It might cost you your life. But see, that's what's at stake, y'all. That's really what's at stake. You look up in the sky, and what do you see? You see trails and trails as far as you can see. That's not by chance, y'all. For those don't know what they're witnessing, I can understand if you lived in a climate where it's cold. But what if you don't? You still see that effect. For those that don't know what that is what we know is called chemtrails. There's a reason why I'm putting this out because y'all, how's your health been lately? Huh? How's your health been? There's a reason for it. But that's yesterday it clicked. It clicked. It clicked for me. Why is it you got people walking around with flu-like symptoms that they can't shake? Why is that? Why is it that you got people walking around like they got walking pneumonia? Why is that? But more importantly, why is it that they ain't talking about it? Now, I'm not on no conspiracy tip. I'm putting fact out, and I highly reject, if you see this, dispel whatever you think I'm talking about. Do the research yourself. Look up the word chemtrails, and then look up the word chemtrail flu. Look at the symptoms. Look at them. There's a checklist on there. You might not realize it, but maybe by chance you may have been exposed over a period of time, and it is attacking your immune system. You sitting over here saying, well, Gerald, I've always had a little rattle in my chest for a long time because, I smoke. Okay. Think about that last time you got real, real sick. Think about it. You might have said, well, okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and spend some money over the counter, and I'm gonna go tried and true. I'm gonna go ahead and get me a little hot toddy, put on some clothes, and sweat this sucker out. Well, part of it works, but then there's a part of it that don't, and it got you feeling a certain kind of way now, don't it? But you terrified because you won't get off your butt and go to the hospital because you're afraid to spend that copay money for them to do what they need to do. But guess what? Guess what? Some physicians don't even know either. You know why? Because they can't treat it. They can't treat it. So if you got people all with the same symptoms, it's no different than you being that person with that bug spray. You're doing the same thing, except you're getting exposed yourself. Think about it. What's gravity? What goes up must come down. So guess what? If it comes down, the first thing it hits is going to expose. So guess what? The trees get infected. Guess what? Maybe that's the reason why the bees populations have drastically died or they can't produce. You ever thought about that? How about this one? Maybe that's the reason why you can't get pregnant. You ever thought about that? I'm talking from a health standard, y'all. Because I can say something about the concept, the whole aspect of being able to conceive. Because for one, if you ain't yoked to be with that person, it ain't blessed. You ain't gonna get pregnant. Because God don't want you to be with that person anyway. That person that you trying to be with may be the person that's gonna be your downfall. But your ego and pride has got you blinded. Let's go back to your temple, your body. Your body, y'all. I believe these chemtrails that we see over your community is getting people sick for two reasons. Every scientist needs a lab rat. It just happens to be us. Now, one thing I do know, I went online and for what they put out publicly, because they only gonna give you what you want, not what you need. And they said that chemtrails, the two main components that are put in there are barium and aluminum. And it's for cloud seeding. And it's supposed to be for protecting the ozone layer because of global warming. Notice we ain't talking about the carbon footprint though, now are we? but they still, you see 4, 5, 6 planes playing Connect 4 over a sky near you. I'll do one better, y'all. Think back 3 years ago when you started seeing people all over getting sick. First, it started with the babies. Babies who had these respiratory issues. Then it was the elderly. They were dying. They were dying, right? But what do you expect? Those are your two examples of your most vulnerable. So I'm saying for myself, I think these chemtrails, the exposure of doing the spraying, not only is going to impact us, first of all, you got to think about it. What goes up must comes down. So therefore, once again, what I just said, the trees get, eventually it makes it to the trees. So maybe that's the reason why they're dying. Maybe that's the reason why the bumblebees, the bees are not flying, they're dying too. And maybe, oh, we gotta throw this in there too, right? Because eventually it's gonna rain. So that, guess what? That rain is gonna make it to the soil. So what about our crops? You don't think that stuff is in there? Come on, think about it. You are what you eat. So before we can turn around and say, well, I'm a vegan. Okay. Are you growing your own crops? Are you sitting there watching, maintaining that, oh, this is naturally done? How do you know? I could stick a logo on the side of a box and say it was naturally grown and take it to a store near you. How would you know? How would you know? I'm not on no conspiracy. I'm stating fact, y'all, on how it impacts me. It might not impact you, but I know nothing by chance happens. Nothing. Nothing. Mm-mm, mm-mm. And I know that there's some people right now think they win it, because guess what? In a town near you, in a building, in a boardroom near you, there are some suits looking at a screen saying, hey, our profit share marketing is going up, blah. On whose expense? Mine? Yours? Your babies? How about your legacy? Now, let's throw this. This is the 1% conspiracy theory I'm gonna throw out there, and I'm just gonna use this as a maybe that's the reason why they made the Georgia Cornerstone statues, because you remember on that statue, which I highly recommend, go on YouTube because there's plenty of those out there. They wanted, whoever anonymously built that said they wanted to liquidate the planet to 500 million people. Tentatively right now, the planet is 7.5 billion people. So that's a whole lot of people that ain't gonna live. Now, let's throw this conspiracy theory out there since I'm talking about it. How about all that? Remember that video footage came out last year and you had those thousands and thousands of plastic human remain canisters in that farmer's property? He was like, I don't know. I thought that was for for uh, for for plants and stuff. Then they went up there and saw it. No, it's for bodies. Why would you make so many of those unless a pandemic broke out, like a virus? You know, something biological took place. You know, think about it. So let's go back. This chemtrail. These chemtrails are getting people sick, and they have it's on the internet. And I know somebody said, well, you can't believe everything on the internet. Do the research yourself. Fact check it. But if the checklist bounces off of your symptoms that you felt, then what? Then what? That's all I'm saying. This is not no game for me. This is just awareness, how it's impacted my life. And it may have impacted someone you know. Maybe it's impacting someone like yourself. Because I'm going to tell you right now, your life is priceless. There'll never be another you. There'll never be another you. And you have to protect it from the inside out, from your spirit to your physical form. But guess what? You gotta get your mind right. You gotta get your mind right. See, there used to be a joke. There used to be a joke, and I'm gonna bring it out there because some people that, let's call it for what it is. You have some people that believe in racism, and there was a joke that said, "How do you? What's the best safe? What's the best place to hide something from a minority?" And then they said, "In plain sight," or better yet, in a book, because they don't read. But look at the mentality of the social climate. You have a dumbing down effect and a definite have versus the have nots. So there is a person that look just like you that don't want you around. It's for their gain. Now let's flip that. What if all of a sudden people start dropping like flies or systematically just die? Who benefits from that? Well, a lot of the private sectors, like insurance companies, they benefit because that's one less person they got to carry. They're not never gonna pay you out what you put in. How about the people in the cemetery that are in the uh, uh, caretaking business? They make a whole lot of money because there's a whole lot of business. Uh-huh. Or better, how about the medical field? Oh yeah, they make a whole lot of money because now doctors they got appointments they got to fill. Uh-huh. But more importantly, so do the pharmaceuticals because 50% of the 50% of the prescriptions that are put out there are placebic. And they know it because they also know this too. There's no money in cures. There's money in sustainment. So you really think you don't have a price tag on your back? That's why I have so much passion for you, my queens, because you know better. You know better, but you don't see your worth, and things are going down right before your face. But you don't see your face because you're too busy looking at your backside, too busy trying to prop them up, looking for cheap validation. The validation starts inside you. That's why I always say to each and every one of y'all, love yourself. Take accountability for your life. Get your life back. Because you're not going to find happiness in a store. You're not going to find happiness in a stolen moment. You're not going to find happiness in a lie. And if you ain't living your life, you living a lie. That's for somebody. I'm tired. I'm so sick and tired of people dumbing down for the wrong reasons. You dumbing down to be with them. They doing nothing different. They might as well be putting a gun to your head because you ain't thinking for yourself. So let's get back. I highly recommend y'all, if you've had respiratory issues, I ain't talking about allergies. I ain't talking about occasional flu, colds. What about them? What about people getting diagnosed with asthma that never had asthma? Who gonna make money off of that? That person you see on the TV screen talking about, hey, you need a CPAP? They weren't doing medical commercials 3 years ago, but they damn sure have a bunch of lawyers out there. Did you take this? Did you suffer from that? You may have a class action suit. Come on, y'all. Who's making money? Those suits are. Why? For two reasons. Number one, they don't want you around. I don't care what you look like. I don't care about your background. They don't want you around because you are taken away from them. So they got to get you out the way. I highly recommend that you stop holding on to your pride, living by your ego, and get your life right. I don't care how old you are. Until you take your final breath, you still got a lot to learn because you still got a whole lot of living left. How about the people you're going to inspire? Huh? Each one teach one, remember? But guess what? You got those who like making money off of your ignorance too. Because they know as long as I keep this messed up, I can get this at any time. That's your cash register right there. That's the ATM right there, is your brain. But if you don't put what you need inside that brain, guess what? You getting robbed every day because you're impressionable. Stop worrying about what he's talking about. Let his actions be his statements. But if God ain't in front of it, it ain't blessed anyway, and you wasting time. Let's go back. Let's go back, y'all. You got a whole lot of people dealing with respiratory issues. You having a whole lot of people having migraine issues. You having a whole lot of people having digestive issues. You didn't hear about that 10, 15 years ago. But then again, the earth was a little bit more healthier now, wasn't it? What I'm trying to say to you is this: people need you around, and you got work still left to do. As long as you're breathing, you got contribution still undone. You got works undone. So I need you healthy. I need you healthy. Now let's go back. Why is it? So I did some reading, and this are the two main chemicals that they publicly made known was aluminum and barium. And they're releasing it in the air, supposedly for self-preservation of our ecosystem. But if you're killing everything that it comes in contact, how are you preserving our ecosystem? There won't be no one there to benefit from. What about our generation of kids? What about them? What kind of world are we living or leaving them? So let's go back to what I'm trying to convey. If you got sickness going on, you got a bug going on, and you, no matter what you've done, ain't shook it right off the bat, start detoxifying yourself. Go on out there and get you a cleanser and stay on it for a while. So whatever toxins that are in your system, it'll come out. If you not, if you guys are not doing, if you guys are not in your vegetables, eating those, you got to start eating them. Even the ones you don't like, you got to eat them because that's going to be your natural defense for your body. I know it sounds kind of contradictory when how can you defend over something that is being touched by the air? Unless you're gonna grow your own stuff, I don't know what to say. But I started noticing something. I was like, wait a minute, why is it people having these hangover type migraines all of a sudden? Why is it that people are having bowel syndrome issues? Why is it all of a sudden you're having sinus infections? Or better yet, you're having vision problems. You're having vision problems. But here's the one that people don't think about. You know how I just said, stop dumbing down? That's also a byproduct of them chemtrails because it has an effect on your mind cognitively. So if your mind ain't right, your body ain't gonna be right. Wherever the mind goes, the body gonna flow. So what's happening? Your temple is being attacked. Now, I could easily say, well, seems like a bioweapon to me because it's the same thing as I used before. You go out to the store and go get some bug spray and you spray over that bug, may it be ants or whatever, right? What happens? Eventually, after the aerosol has hit, the effect happens. It's the same. The can is the airplane. Oh yeah, I didn't mention this too in the list. Like I said, please do the research for yourself because I know there's a lot of people that are like, no, that's conspiracy theory. No, they have been they've been doing chemtrails for almost since '99. I wasn't aware of that. And you go on YouTube, they actually have the public hearings of them talking about it, hidden in plain sight, y'all. Because they know the average person's not gonna think about that because they're too busy trying to live their life day to day. But is it worth your health? Is it worth your dreams? Mind you now, we're talking about your mind. So if your mind ain't clear, you ain't dreaming right. You ain't making sound decisions. You are impulsively just going through the flow. Maybe that going through the flow has to do with what's coming from the sky. If you've had a cold, how long a cold supposed to last? Worst case, 3 days. But you didn't had that same sniffle for over a month. It's because you've been exposed to you. You've been exposed and you have to detoxify your body. Start doing it. Start doing it. What's the worst thing that can happen if you detoxify your body? You're healthier. If you're not, if you don't have alkaline in your system, you better go get you some alkaline pills. It's time to claim your life back by taking care of yourself, y'all. That's all I'm saying. Oh, and oh yeah, fellas. Here's another byproduct of those chemtrails. It causes heart attacks. So maybe some of those stories we were hearing about, little Johnny just fall over dead, but he was in the best shape of his life. Maybe that was because of exposure. Who knows? I highly recommend you guys just do the research, go online, look up chemtrail symptoms. Chemtrail flu is what they call it. I know there's probably a medical name for it, but what they're doing shouldn't cost you your life. God's praying for you. You know I am. I see your worth. And for that, it helps me discern mine. But before I go, here's another thing that you know that you've been exposed. For those who got this congestion thing, you may have turned around and said, well, maybe because I'm having too much dairy and it's the junk food I'm eating. First of all, cut the junk food out. Drink your water. But here's another thing about that chemtrail, the symptoms of chemtrail flu-like symptoms. Once it gets in your system, it's resistant to medicine. Maybe that's why you got so much phlegm in your chest, and no matter how much money you spend over the counter. Now, mind you, they're going to prescription companies, pharmaceutical making money off you because you're trying to do it on your own. It's bioengineered to sustain itself because it goes in the cell wall. It's man-made design, y'all. So meanwhile, while you trying to hold it down, there's somebody on a yacht laughing because they know overall a whole lot of people gonna die. Let's make sure it ain't you. You got people that need you around. Stay blessed.